Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. This is the Law and Ordinance Committee meeting. We are discussing, again, Chapter 1759, the trees, weeds, and grass chapter of the Norwood ordinances. And as we are also discussing warning letters that go out. And there's a third thing, and I don't have my agenda in front of me, so sorry about that. Do you guys want to start?
The agenda has lighting and.
Oh, that's right. We had a lighting follow-up. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think is the published agenda have 2 items or 3 items?
I believe it had 3, because it had 1759. Sorry, I was sending other emails, everybody, and didn't open my PDFs. This has to be exciting for everybody at home.
Right. I just found it now.
There it is. Yeah.
I just have lighting and violation letters.
Oh, it shouldn't put the 3. It looks like there's just a typo.
Oh, and
Okay,
then
good.
chapter 1759 is the weeds?
That is the weeds
Okay.
ordinance, yes.
Okay. So we have
it's
3
just
items.
an odd-looking agenda, but there are 3 items.
Cool.
Okay. So for trees, weeds, and grass, I did speak to Jim Shelby about the publication aspect of it. The Board of Health is fine with keeping that. They actually would like to keep it.
Okay.
So I'm glad Ms. Hoover had the idea to reach out and make sure. Because they prefer keeping it. They want to publish it. They're fine with it.
Right.
I guess we could just change the language to Board of Health instead of, it says Health Department on there. So
yeah,
we
that
could
would be
make those
appropriate.
small edits. But otherwise, they are fine with the publication. I think they do find it helpful. They like getting the warning out. So we don't need to mess with it as long as
Was there
we
any
don't have any strong feelings.
was there any feedback from him in terms of how many complaints he gets?
Actually, yes. He said that so far this year, he's gotten 70 tall grass complaints.
7-0.
70.
And is that more than usual, less than?
He said this was the first time he's really kept,
Oh.
well, not the first time, but he said this year he was keeping better track with See-Click Fix. Mm-hmm. So he made a point to count. I didn't ask about years past. I'm assuming he didn't say if it was a lot more or a lot less. I think he just has a more accurate count this year.
Cool.
That might be something if Clint could give us access so we could pull reports and not cause them extra work.
But say,
It's not through Clint, it would be through Norcom.
See-click fix? Mm-hmm. Okay.
and then Mr. Shelby also said that he said actually out of all his complaints, only about 5 were probably not valid. He said most of them he did issue warning letters about the height of the grass. So it seems like people are keeping track, but they are doing so correctly, I guess is the best way to say it. And yeah, and he was fine with the publications. I also spoke to him about the noxious weed language, and he would like for us to incorporate the list that the state legislature uses. I'm looking through it now. It has poison hemlock. Because I told him we weren't sure if it included, or I wasn't sure when I spoke to him. It doesn't explicitly say poison oak, unless like the scientific name is on here. We needed Mrs. Franson again today. I should have asked. I can check in with her. But yeah, I don't like see the layman's terms of poison ivy. I'm assuming poison hemlock is, I think I Googled it last time and it's not quite the same.
No, it is different.
Yeah.
And I think it's poison oak we don't have here.
Poison oak and poison ivy. So yeah, I don't see them
Mrs.
explicitly
Francis
listed.
said something like that.
No, we do have poison ivy here.
Yes, we have it in ours. I don't see it on the noxious weed list from the state. Sorry, to be clear. My bad. I'm just rambling.
No, you're good. You're talking about in the legislation.
In the legislation
And I'm talking
from
about in
the Norwood.
In the, in this climate zone.
Oh.
Because I believe Mrs. Franzen was saying that we do not have.
Oh, we don't have poison oak?
Oak, right.
Oh,
It's
okay.
very
But
rare.
I know we
Very
have poison
rare.
ivy because I have some in my backyard, and I did.
I know we have
report
poison ivy.
the ivy tree, and I believe you also followed up about the poison ivy tree, which I think should win some award.
Where's that at?
On Clinny, it is 2-story a 2-story tall tree stump, but it looks like a full tree because it is covered in poison ivy.
Wow.
It's really pretty
Yeah.
impressive. I'm not sure.
You would have to you would have to intentionally avoid it on the sidewalk.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. It's It's impressive. I have no idea how they're even gonna,
I don't know who remediates that kind of thing.
I believe normally it would go through the Board of Health, but I believe,
they would issue a warning.
Clint is the one who was tagged in See Click Fix.
All right. That's crazy.
It is
Impressive.
It's one of the challenges is we can't, the landlord does not live there. And so it's hard to reach out to them, but that's for another committee.
Yes. Interesting. Okay. So we can keep and Mr. Shelby was okay with this too, with keeping the poison ivy language, even though it's not, I don't think it's in this code. I don't see it. Again, unless it is a scientific, I can Google the scientific name. I don't know why I'm acting like I can't. Oh, I don't think it's on. It's called toxicodendron radicans.
And I don't see the tree posted right now. It's disappeared off See Click Fix.
Might drive home the long way.
Okay.
That's right by where I live.
So are we okay with incorporating the noxious weed ordinance? We can just say as noxious weeds as defined by, and we can put it's the administrative code, not the revised code, but
Yeah.
we can I think they all use the same one. And
It seems,
oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, it seems to me that when I've paid attention to try to look at the code, the language seems to change. See this code as an updated way of
Yeah.
keeping all of our ordinances a little cleaner.
Yes. So I think we'll just reference the administrative code, and we can just keep the first part where it does explicitly say any weeds which are spreading, so we won't keep that. Any weeds. Maybe we should get into the nitty gritty on this, because it says any weeds which are spreading or maturing seeds or about to do so, including but not limited to.
So that's like when it's
So where would we want to put them?
dandelion, right?
Okay.
Or the, once it starts to do the,
Technically, you could call on your neighbor for dandelions.
for a dandelion? Well, that's,
Well, I don't think they're included in the noxious weeds.
But what you
But
just
because
read,
it says any weeds which are dandelions truly weeds under?
I think so.
That makes me so sad.
Well, we should have our biologist confer on that.
So should we take out the spreading and maturing part?
I would,
double
that
check.
feels like a.
Because the administrative code just says the following plants are hereby designated prohibited noxious weeds. So we could just
Keep it as that.
take out the maturing,
I would,
spreading or maturing seeds or about to do so.
I would think that sounds like a good idea.
I think we should,
agree.
just the following weeds are prohibited. The weeds. We'll talk. Yeah, I was saying. I'm
Could you
sure.
just ask Councilman Franzen about that? Just,
Yeah, we can. It just seems like weird legal language.
it does. I'm just curious
Yeah.
if there's something that we're not aware of.
We can double check.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll just add the poison ivy. Poison oak is in here.
Okay, leave it.
Want to keep it?
Yeah.
Just in case. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe someone's
might
growing really
Climate
rare
change.
poison
Climate
oak.
is changing,
Yes.
so.
Okay, so we'll keep that. No, let me write this down in my notes. So we could just do the following weeds are prohibited. And we can say any noxious weed as defined by. Sorry, this is the part.
No, this
This
is
is my legalese part.
No, you're good.
It's your
As
strength
defined
points.
by the Ohio Administrative Code chapter. And then, and we could just say additionally, or as well as poison ivy, poison oak. And then I believe Miss Bowling, and I believe we had a citizen reach out about the language about like weeds that cause rashes or something. Did we look into that at all? I feel like there was a legal term that one of them used.
I I thought we incorporated that. I could be incorrect.
I don't think we explicitly, poisonous to the touch, was that what we said? Oh yeah, poisonous to the touch. I think that is like the,
I just found it.
yeah,
Poisonous to the touch is really crucial versus poisonous because many plants are poisonous in
Poisonous, but-
some form.
yes.
And thus to the touch is very key criterion. That's true. Because like lily of the valley are poisonous.
I didn't know that.
But you have to eat them and
Oh, hibiscus.
a bit of a
yes.
quantity. Right, yeah.
Or
Yeah, so
poinsettia.
things like that.
Poinsettias are poisonous, yep.
Yeah, they are.
Now I see the wisdom.
Yes.
I love that people actually watch this and pay attention and take the time to send us an email and we
That's-
listen. And
Yes.
That is constructive feedback.
yes, we are all about constructive feedback.
I'm all about the magic words. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so I can make a point for us to include that. And we'll take out anything referencing the ragweed or goldenrod.
Gold milkweed.
Yeah, and milkweed, because we want to help the monarch. All right. And we were going to keep the 8 inches language, right, for grass. And then I kind of, I've seen some stuff about April being the better month to not mow because it's better for pollinators. They're starting
Well,
earlier.
So I've done some research on no-mow and actually.
I know there's like mixed results too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And essentially what I'm hearing is that there are bigger, better ways to go about it. That
Yeah.
that's more of like a catchy phrase and that's clever. But that doesn't have the biggest punch. What we really want is more native plants. We need more, clover. We need more of that sort of thing. I actually reached out to the Gem of the Highland Garden of the Highland on Facebook. I have no idea who they are, but I follow them on Facebook and they're always posting really cool pictures and ideas on, options instead of using bug spray, plants to plant or
Spraying is a big deal.
spraying is a huge issue. I was going to see if they might be interested in providing like a workshop on how to do a low maintenance lawn or a native lawn or also in our road work, the water gardens. Is that what they're called? Water gardens? Where they can take a whole hunk of water and then it helps hold the soil better. I think it's called a water garden. It's in
I don't know about that.
my thing. But it's another way for us to help mitigate our flooding challenges. Where is it? It's in my pray.
It's okay. I had us sitting in like 15 seconds of silence already.
Rain garden. It's called a rain garden. I'm also, well, this is more separate than noxious weeds, but I think that could be some things we could maybe throw out some suggestions for folks, and maybe that would come out of maybe the housing committee rather than the law committee, because it's not, we're not demanding people do it, but just, hey, if you are, like I mentioned, we're overseeding with clover.
Public health. Yeah, it falls like the public health.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can like get someone in to talk about that or figure that out.
It'd be really cool to do that, like, at the community center. I feel like that happened way back when Donna Lake was on. Did we
Dana
ever do-
Bull also had someone come speak about like the drainage, not drainage, but plants that can aid with flooding and landscaping that can help with
wow.
flooding. Yeah.
I mean, I think that would be a really cool thing for us to support and, but that, I guess that's.
Landscaping is very expensive when professionally done, so I do know that can be difficult for people. Just so.
Well,
I have
not even
relatives who do
professionally
landscaping.
done.
Yeah,
I mean, 'cause
but even doing it yourself can be expensive. So, yeah.
Reading feed and seed. Just saying.
The joys of homeownership.
And Natorp, remember when Natorp's used to be right on Victory Parkway? No.
Oh, wow.
Where it's a church now, but Natorp's used to have a location right on Reading Road for years. Okay, random, sorry.
Oh,
No, it's okay.
yes. I barely remember that.
It was there when my kids
Your
were
sugar
little.
and spice,
Yep, across the street.
Oh, okay.
Ding, ding, ding. Yep.
which is back and open.
Oh, I know, and it's just the same, but it's bigger and yeah, I love that place. We should
I love it.
open a spot here in Norwood.
All right.
All right, sorry.
I'll let you take that to small business. Okay. All right, so are we good with, I will send our edits over to Tim and Keith, but I think that's all I think that pretty much takes care of the weed conundrum,
I believe.
and I think the publication was the only other thing. I know the community member who wrote in mentioned that they thought 10 inches was reasonable for grass. I know right now it's at 8. To be honest, I don't mow grass, so I don't know what a reasonable height would be.
It depends on
But I didn't
how
hear too much.
thick the grass is.
Yeah.
But 8 inches is very noticeable
That's what
if
I
you're driving by
Would
somebody's
have
house.
guessed. Yeah.
And I'm not for homeowner association kind of regulations, but
You think 8 inches
But,
is
like-
reasonable? Right. I mean, that was kind of how. But like I
if it
said, I
gets
don't
that
mow
tall,
lawns, so I don't
you've
know.
got some that are 14 inches and then some that are 5
Yeah.
inches. And I agree with what you said last time, is that if we weren't such a dense
Right.
community,
It might
I'd
make
be
more
much more
sense.
loose
You
about.
do you, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we are right on top of each other. So, and like you said, you do have a mosquito problem in your backyard. I've been a victim to it. Sorry,
we're
not to
looking-
not to air
that's
your
all right.
dirty laundry.
We're looking at doing a mosquito trap. Have you read about these?
I think I've
fans?
seen. Is it
You
similar to
take-
like the lantern fly trap?
No, you take a bucket of water. Folks at home, Google it because this isn't not going to be correct. You take like
say
a
it's
big,
related to
like
the
a like a
noxious
like a
5 gallon or a
5-gallon bucket, and you put water in it and some of the some straw in it and some of the crumbly. It's you crumble. It's like pellets. You put it in the water and it kills the mosquito larvae.
Oh.
So what happens is the
They go there and
females go to lay their eggs, but then the eggs never hatch. So, and it's got the thing in it, so it's not like standing water.
Yeah,
It ends the process. I feel like there's another bucket on top. Anyway, I have Google it at home.
Yeah.
That might be my weekend project.
Figure it out. Okay. All right. I feel good about changing that. That way we're not getting rid of native plants that help the pollinators. Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll keep the oak and poison ivy language. Okay, and then I sent you guys the templates
Oh, yes.
from Mr. Powers for warning letters. But Mr. Gerton, I'll let you start with what your concerns are.
Well, I was counseled that this may be farther than our jurisdiction,
Okay.
that this is an operational thing.
Right.
And so it would be a big ordinance to require something. So while I still feel very passionate that our letters are not friendly
Okay.
and respectful,
You may want to schedule a meeting with Mr. Power if you do have specific concerns.
well, I'm hoping to talk to the building department manager whenever
Okay.
that person is.
Okay, I saw one of their letters.
That person, they
Position.
offered the position to someone and they did not accept it for the
Yeah.
salary range. So I believe there is not anyone in queue,
Right.
last I heard.
But I think that's where the conversation needs to start.
All right.
But I have had conversations with Mr. Powers
Okay.
already about some of the language there.
Okay. So I thought
So
it was
do we-
friendly, but I write not very
Do
friendly
we want
orders all
to,
day.
so do we want to talk about the non-compliance letter or not?
I'm open to the conversation.
This is the first time I'm seeing it right now, so.
So I've seen some of the warning letters from the building department, and I know they pretty much just
I've got the
it's a
one that says
template.
Bob.
Yeah, it's just a template. So.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is that if a resident receives one of these letters, it's written to be the worst case scenario.
You want me
And
to read it out loud? Would that be helpful?
sure. And I think it also, the building department works with our residents in person much more than the letter makes it seem like they do.
Well, and
So I'll
Yeah,
just
you can
read
read
it so
it
we're
if
all
you
on the same page. Date, notice of violation for noncompliance in bold. Dear property owners, on inspection date, an inspection was made at the referenced property. This property is in violation of the Norwood Property Maintenance Code as listed on the enclosed form. The listed violations need to be corrected within 15 days. An extension of time may be granted provided that reasonable progress has been made to correct the violations. A reinspection will be made on date. If you have any questions concerning this letter, or if the property is not available for reinspection on this date, please do not hesitate to contact us at blah, 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 between 8 and 5. Thank you for your quick response to this matter. Sincerely, inspector's name, housing inspector, email, phone number. And then on the next page is the list of violations. And then
there's like a section for remediation, like to remediate this or,
I don't think he
Solution.
included it.
not on
That might be
this
more
document.
specific for some
I know
violations.
there are times where underneath the second page, it says like suggested action or something like that to remediate it.
Here's another one.
That one is specific. So that's
yeah.
like an action. Yeah, so just.
So this one is from 2023. Dear blank, on this date, an investigation was commenced at the property referenced above as a result of a complaint. This inspection has disclosed that the use of this property is in violation of the Norwood Planning and Zoning Ordinance, and the use and/or structure is in violation of the Norwood Building Code, section blah, blah, blah. The following violation of the Norwood codified ordinances are to be corrected by the dates indicated. And then here's the thing, then it says 30 days should be adequate to correct all violations. If I can be of assistance, please do not hesitate to contact me directly at phone number, Monday through Friday, blah, 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 blah. And then, in tiny writing,
They copy and paste.
it says right of appeal. And then there's oh my gosh, in regard to the planning, blah, blah, blah.
Use your fingers.
It's the.
Do
Do you want me? It is very small. It's just the planning and it's the right of appeal for the zoning, which is if that's you can appeal to. I believe if you're found in violation through the magistrate, you can appeal to the common pleas court. We do administrative appeals in my courtroom, so I'm a little familiar. I don't do any for Norwood, but
and then it just says reinspection date.
yeah.
And then,
So I mean, I think they're just short and sweet and to the point, which
is there, I have not received one of these. I don't think I would like to receive one, but I'm not sure, how would you change the tone of this?
I
It's
do
not
like the wording that includes a complaint. I think it is important that people know if the city went out looking for
where it
this
came from.
or if a neighbor called in on them.
okay.
There is language in the code that says that if you're going to complain, you need to file a affidavit. But the lawyers in our city hall suggest that it says they shall instead of must. And so you can call and make a complaint at any point, and the city is supposed to, well, no, I'll stop there. But I would like it to be very clear to the person receiving this if the city went after them or if there was a complaint and the city followed up on the complaint.
Okay, so this one is just a notice of non-compliance.
And I think that one's just a template that can be edited.
So notice of noncompliance is also, wait, is the notice of noncompliance the one with the complaint?
No, it says, on this date, an inspection was made at the property.
Yeah.
And the property's in violation.
So
but-
you can make a phone call and prompt an investigation or an inspection.
Right.
Like I don't. But I think that's because I'm an attorney. I'm like, get to the point when I'm reading. I'm like, okay,
Right.
violation. Here's the code section.
Let's see, get to the point.
Yeah.
I've heard this from other residents as well. Get to the point creates animosity with City Hall. and it
it.
creates non-compliance with City Hall, and it creates non-compliance with tax paying.
So what do you think would help?
Like I said, I think it would help if they knew that it was a complaint that was called, rather than
So
the
it seems
city
like they did do that, at least for the one
in one
building
of
that
them.
we had.
in the
Yeah.
one letter. I also think it would be helpful to write the language in, our focus is restorative and not punitive.
Okay. I think that's a good idea, because, I mean, remediation is the goal.
Right.
Yeah.
But it starts out with, you're in violation, here's the fine, here's the thing. I think it should be,
There's no fines on here.
oh, really?
There are no fines on here.
Not on the template, and then the other one was also a warning letter from,
And it says code violation, insert violation here. So if I have a violation, I don't know, I need to.
I think these are both notifications and not citations, if that's. So these are the
So-
initial contact.
Okay, so I'll double check, but I have 2 letters from a resident, and one of them says, like, if you don't do it by this day, we're gonna start fining you at like $1,000 a day.
Whoa.
Yeah, and
Which
that's
I
for
get why
having,
that is upsetting to read, but like also, I just feel like, again, I know I'm not
Right.
like always the normal person in situations, but I would want to know like, well, okay, what happens if I don't do this? Like, how serious is this? Because like, if it doesn't sound serious, I'm one of those people where if something doesn't sound serious, I will just be like, I'll deal with that later. And I would want to know if like I have a hard deadline. I like a deadline.
that, I think
Yeah.
that's part of it, but
Yeah.
like I said, I think the letter should be focused on remediation, saying, hey, we
So
wanna
we
get
could
this
start with that.
solved.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But I think they should lay out what the possible consequences are, not to scare people, but
I
just,
agree.
I think knowledge is power, right?
I agree.
And for me, a deadline is power.
I'm
'cause I'm a
curious
procrastinator.
if, because I don't know what the process is. Like if they, I know back many years ago when we had more bodies, they would actually sort of walk around and, you know, who's got
Fundraise.
pissing pissing, sorry, who is missing paint.
House numbers.
Yeah, I don't think that's happened in a long time. I could be mistaken. I've not heard of that happening. But I think that it's entirely possible that, you know, he could be driving down the street and see a thing, which is different than driving to see a thing. Anyway, so my question is, what does the process typically look like? And I don't know what it is. Is it mostly complaint driven, like weeds and tall grass? Or is it, does the building, because I know that they look at all apartments, right?
I think every so many years.
Right.
It's not every year like it used to be, I do know that. But I think every so often they have to go. I think in between tenants, they are supposed to go look if it's been so many years.
Yeah.
I've been at my apartment for almost 5 years, and I haven't had anybody.
Yeah. So, I guess my question is, what is the process? Like, how does stuff usually get into them? And then what is it, the first letter is a very sweet letter, and it's the 10th letter that's, okay, now it's $1,000 a day. So I would want to know what
Well, these are the first letters in general. I know,
I
like,
don't think we have fees for any first offense.
No, they get a warning letter first.
Yeah.
But the warning letter, the way I've been told and the way I read it whenever I've received one, is you're in trouble.
Okay.
You need to fix this or
Could
we're
be
going to
that
fine you.
these are new letters. These are both from 2003.
or 2023.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm in the Wayback Machine. We don't want to go back to 20.
So let me give you just
yeah.
one example it's a specific example that I'm in contact with a resident on. They have a pickup truck, or they did have a pickup truck that was given to them. It's an antique pickup truck. It actually is a tow truck, and it was parked in the back of their property, but visible from the street. And the city gave them a letter and said, you're not allowed to have an inoperable vehicle in your driveway. Well, there's no way of telling them if it's inoperable. You'd have to get inside the vehicle and turn the key on to see if it's operable or not. But yet, from what I've been able to ascertain, is somebody called in and complained on that property, and now a resident has to comply with this very minute but still technical part of our law, but it arrived because of a complaint. And the city wasn't out stalking them. And so I don't want the city to be held accountable for being a really bad neighbor. I'd like the bad neighbor being held accountable for being that kind of neighbor, rather than,
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah.
So it's not the city that's,
Did the letter that resident received state whether it was a complaint or not?
No.
It didn't? Okay.
no, but doing some digging on it. And that's part of the problem, is that because of our personnel, we are very inconsistent in the way that we cite people. I drove by 2 different properties that have the exact same violation, and nothing, I mean, just to get here tonight, and nothing's been done about those because nobody's called it in.
Right.
But this one neighbor in Ward 2 gets this nasty letter. And it's not a nasty letter, but gets this letter out of nowhere because a neighbor has a problem with them, and the neighbor knows enough about the code to find the
Right.
thing to play with their neighbor.
Right.
And so the city is basically looking like the bad guy because they send them a letter saying an inspection occurred, you were found in violation, you must move this. If you don't move it within so many days, you're going to be fined $1,000 a day.
Which I'm sure they didn't. I doubt the intention was to. Again, I don't think they're like trying to upset anybody, but yeah, it would have been good to put that it was a neighbor complaint. I think that would have been a good, better intro.
I mean, I
Yeah,
think
so the
even-
uniformity, I think would have. Yeah, I think that'd be administration has to.
right.
since
it's
we
an
don't-
operational thing.
Yes.
is
yeah.
that through the building department in an operable
Absolutely.
car? Okay. Because it's on the street, it would be the police department.
Because like the one we just read was from the building department, and it mentioned it was a complaint. So maybe just.
I took that to the powers that be, and they were like, well, you're right. This is a technicality that I don't think that's this. But it looks like it could be this thing. And so then they found another thing to send a violation to that person for. So then it was the city going after them. And it's just, we have a building department that's been weaponized by bad neighbors. For instance, if you don't put your garbage cans in back behind your house, you're not supposed to see your garbage cans from the front. And so if you see your garbage cans from the front, a neighbor can call on you, and then you get one of those letters, an inspection occurred, you were found in violation of this, you must move your cans.
It's tough to live with people. That's what I'm saying.
I just don't want our code to be a homeowner association.
No, I get it. I think a lot of municipalities do, like the cans, for instance. I know a lot of people do have, like, a lot of municipalities do have regulations with the cans. In fact, my hairdresser, who is in a neighboring municipality, she did let me, sorry, this is anecdote time. She had just moved in and they had their trash cans out after 7 p.m. They were going to get them after dinner, like just had a chaotic day. And someone had already called the police in this municipality. It was a small one, so the police came out and they were like, FYI. There may have been some laughter. They were like, FYI, someone called about your cans. Yeah. So, right. And
There are
you know,
cases
yeah.
of political retribution in Norwood over cans being before or after time.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of stuff that makes City Hall look like
Right.
we're wasting taxpayer money whenever we should be paving roads.
I've gotten the notice about my cans before, and I didn't feel like it was, for me, it was a reminder of, yeah,
I'm
Yep.
glad it felt that way.
yeah.
I'm giving you feedback from
Then I appreciate
residents.
that. I'm just
Right.
sharing that my experience is different.
Yeah.
Because there is, yeah, we do have to balance between an HOA, but also,
You don't want garbage cans sitting on the sidewalk all week, right? Like, it's tough.
Yeah, well, you said all week. You didn't say an hour after the code says.
Yes. Yes. But we gotta, yeah.
mine were out too early, I believe, was the,
Oh, I think you don't. Yeah, too early.
many years ago.
Yeah. If anybody's wondering, it's 6:30 p.m. the day before and the day of.
Okay. I don't take out my garbage can, so. I don't take out my garbage. Just kidding. Someone else does. Okay. I used to have to bring the garbage cans in, if that makes anybody feel better. When I was a child.
Midwest Princess.
Yes. Yes. Okay. We will, all right, are we ready to move on to lighting? Since, or you're going to follow up on, we can just take those out, and if you feel the need to put it back on the agenda, we can do
I'm
it.
fine moving it off the
I would
agenda
say,
at this
if you want to talk about like a more uniform template, I feel like admin will be receptive.
Well,
based on
and
what
I think it has to,
Yeah.
Mr. Powers has a lot on his plate, and I
Yes.
think we need the building department manager in place to make some of these
And
changes.
fixing Elm Avenue and all the things.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yep.
he's a busy guy,
Yeah.
but does a great job. Okay, we will move on then to I believe Mrs. Hoover had updates for the lighting ordinances.
Yes, I talked to the building department, and I brought up the issues that the resident brought up to us. Found out that the Shell gas station, they are still waiting for the rest of that awning after the damage, so it is still in progress, and when it's completed, it should look exactly like it did before, which is
excellent.
what was preferred, which was
Yes.
desirable. The landing, that lighting does not break our code. And the other one,
OTO.
OTO, did break our code, and so he was gonna reach out to them. And let's see.
Do we know what section it was? Did he mention what section for lighting?
I think it was the lighting into the
The neighbor?
adjoining property.
Okay.
And then the two vape shops, they're the same company, they're different owners.
Okay.
I popped into the one Surrey Square and left my business card for the owner, but he hasn't called me yet. But those do break our code, and they have already been warned, and I believe a second notice was going out.
Okay.
So
That's
that's what I have on
That's
that.
excellent. You'd like direct follow-up. While we're discussing it, and sorry, since you were the one following up, I've been bad and haven't done my homework that I wanted to do. Do we know if we have like a cutoff rule? Because to me that seemed like a practical implication, just the cutoff so it's not
Close.
shining up.
Oh, okay.
Like, do you remember that?
You mean like the
Dana
hood?
Bull showed? Yes, like where a light would normally just shine up and down in all directions, it has like a hood to
Yeah,
cut
yeah.
off.
Oh, the canister full, what did they call it?
I think she called it just a full cutoff feature from my notes.
Thank you.
Like, you know what, maybe I'll speak to the building department, because to me that seemed like a practical commercial lighting, have a cutoff feature, like similar to streetlights. You know, streetlights have the cutoff, it's not shining directly up. Although
yeah.
sometimes it feels like they're shining at my window. But
Well, some streetlights are not full cutoff, where they have a globe that lets it spread
yeah,
horizontally.
yeah, I have that.
Yeah.
A little bit of that. I have blackout curtains.
I think Mr. Brown said that
Yeah.
you know, if we write this in certain ways, we could put the city in violation of things without money to.
To fix.
Replace
yes,
those
so
lights,
we do
yes.
not want to do that, yeah. But to me, that seemed like an easier starting point, but we can talk about that later if we want to move forward. I'll talk to the building department. And,
Okay. I would be really curious about those LED, those hanging.
the string lights, like that are around the windows and things. Yeah,
I have not seen anything.
Rope lights.
Yeah, they're the really bright LED ones.
and they have different types of bulbs and stuff in them too. Because I
Yeah.
know an establishment close to my house has them, and they aren't. From what I can tell, they aren't too bad, but like some of them are very, very bright. And I believe Mrs. Bowling was saying how some of them have entirely different like makeups on the inside. I'm no engineer, so but she was saying how they're like they can be entirely different in how they put off light and all of that. So we can put this on the agenda for next time. We can do more homework.
I do think, I mean, I am hesitant to put too many restrictions on businesses for this,
Yeah.
but it does seem mildly commonsensical to turn off your lights when your business is closed.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I think that if we wanted to write an ordinance for something.
You're right, and that wouldn't cost
Yeah.
money necessarily.
Right. And it, like I said, it seems like a common sense thing to do, you know, or at least I mean, I thought it used to be like just standard practice that
Right.
your
And
signs
some
were
businesses
off.
keep the signs on all night
Yeah.
now, yeah.
And maybe that's a zoning issue that it only is allowed in certain
Right.
commercial.
I know, I feel like we need to have more department heads here.
Right.
Someone with a little more knowledge than us. Okay, so like, maybe we could be like practical we could discuss what practical implications we're interested in next. And
Yeah.
you're right, I think that's actually even more practical than the cutoff, because like you said, that could cost money and time. But yeah, just having commercial businesses shut off their lights probably be helpful. All the businesses I worked at, we turned off our signs and lights at night. I was
thought it
closing
was
at many a
common.
shop
Yeah.
when I was in college. So I think like,
Is UDF 24/7 now? Or still?
Well, see, that's the thing about Shell
Yeah.
is, Shell's open very late. I don't know how late, but I mean, that's part of it is even if we told them to turn their lights off whenever they close, they're still open late into the evening and are very close to, surrounded by residential.
and then of course like people have to close after the business hours are done. So maybe we could,
I was just trying to think what businesses are really,
I think the landing does keep their lights on at night.
yes.
We discussed that they have to have some.
To have some for
Yeah.
security.
Right. And I think Chipotle, I think like Chipotle does keep their Chipotle sign on almost all night. We're going to have to drive around at night.
Right.
We're going to have to turn it.
Which I actually needed to do because I wanted to do some stargazing from the top of the parking structure, and I drove around the other night to see if the lights were off on the top. But anyways,
What would we?
We'll have to go do
to
some
become
investigation.
A dark sky city. I'm mostly joking.
That is a mostly rural thing from what I just,
No,
much less dense than us. Sedona does that? Wow.
Sedona's a dark sky.
That's cool.
I think we wouldn't have an impact because we're surrounded by Cincinnati.
Yeah.
There was just an article that I sent to Miss Bull the other day that the Tesla factory outside of Austin, Texas, lights up the sky for 3 miles. Yeah. Like it glows into, it's just, it cuts out dark sky.
Wow.
I don't mean to laugh, but it is a little ironic, isn't it? That the electric car
Yeah.
saving the environment.
But it
can
was
discuss
a
later.
relevant issue. that
I drive the
thought-
most fuel efficient car on the road, the Toyota Prius.
I don't know. My car has over 300,000 miles on it. That might be.
Oh, no,
better
no,
for the
they did a
environment.
study.
Really?
Yeah. And actually, I think my car's at 350.
350,000
I'm pretty
miles?
sure. I think it's 356.
Wow. There's
It's a Toyota.
by Toyota.
Not
everybody.
sponsored by Toyota. Yeah, so it is just a little ironic. Okay, so do we want to follow up next time? We can all do a little more
Yes.
research. This was a short time between meetings, so I just put the lighting back on because I knew we had updates and.
I would love, I know Mrs. Bowl talked about lighting. Do we have any other lighting folks who could facilitate this?
You know what? I reached out to Dark Sky Ohio, and they did not get back to me because I did do that before the last meeting about lighting, before the presentation from Ms. Ball. I reached out to them. They have a website and a Facebook page. I think I messaged them on the website, I believe, and they didn't get back to me, which I do not know. Could be many reasons for that. So I can try reaching out to them again.
If we did want to do something,
I could look into like an environmental law group too as well. I don't know if there are any local nonprofit. I can give myself homework for next time. Take a look.
well, the Dark Skies group does have mock ordinances, not mock, but template.
Yes, I looked at some of their templates. They did seem. I'll say I don't know, like some of the measuring. Again,
Right.
no engineer, no lighting expert. So like I didn't understand like the lumens versus
Lux
not
or-
lux. I didn't understand the difference for those. So that's why I was hoping we could get someone in to talk about what's reasonable and what exactly all those terms
Yeah.
mean.
Well, something on the business side of things. So typically, you had to get grandfathered into ordinances that were put in after you did something. But I think I would be comfortable if we did something like by 2026,
Yeah,
We're
because
trying to phase,
Yes.
pay attention, this is going to be coming down the
Yeah.
pike.
Yeah.
I would
So
also
when
be-
you
yeah.
need to get new light
I would definitely
bulbs,
be in
get
it.
new
exactly,
light
because you're
bulbs.
going to replace light bulbs over the course of time. And
Yes, and like I know Miss Bull mentioned like warm lights are better than cool lights, so maybe that could be
Yeah.
you know,
And I-
when your lights for an hour, replace them. with
Right.
The worm lights, yeah. Yeah, so we could definitely make it, we could speak to the law department, but I think that would be a much more practical thing as well. I know we didn't get too much into the nitty gritty on this. I feel like this is our first big condo on it. I know, because I would like to have someone talk about the strip, like the neon strips. And then like I'm personally not familiar with like our neon ordinances as well, and whether we have a limit on neon signs. I know a lot of places do, but I don't know. Let me add to the list.
So I'm now on the International Dark Sky Association Ohio chapter. Fascinating. Turning out unnecessary lights at one downtown building reduces migratory bird deaths by 80%.
Whoa.
Right? What?
For what? How big of an area? I guess. I mean, a reduction is good regardless, but
Right.
I know because we
one
just
building.
had migratory. Because I'm old, I watch birds in my backyard now. That's what we do. And just last week, I think, was the biggest overflight of migratory birds in
Really?
the
yeah.
Cincinnati area.
So maybe we could even ask like the Chamber of Commerce for like the next big migratory time to ask. You know what? We could just. There are a lot of ways to.
Bordeaux
lights.
turned off 57% of its streetlights from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. to save energy. It appears to have resulted in no measurable increase in crime. This is my new favorite thing to scroll on.
I was saying I went through that website before before our last meeting. They have great facts. It's a great resource. I do wish the Ohio chapter would have gotten back. I mean, again, I don't know why, but I wish they would have gotten back to me because I would have loved because I'm sure they have more specific data for like certain communities. So because I know a lot of their like shining stars on there are kind of more rural, either on directly on bodies of water, stuff like that.
Shining stars, no pun intended.
So
As veteran council people, do we have the ability, maybe I could ask Steve this, do we have the ability to do like a Zoom call?
oh yeah, I think we could. I know the school board's done it, so
Right.
I think we could do it. I don't think it'd be an issue.
Because I don't know.
My issue is I am bad at connecting.
Technology is our challenge.
Yes.
I could figure out how to do it.
But
from
yeah,
somebody
if we could
and-
get someone, I'd be fine with having a Zoom. As long as they're visible and we can hear them, I believe it's fine.
Yeah. Maybe
Actually, I
that's
don't even think
Steve's
it's visible.
question is, well, no, I guess if we can put it on that screen
Mm-hmm.
on Norwood television, then we could probably Zoom it.
I think that'd be fine. Yeah. So if
That
you have
might be an
anyone who wants
easier
to
way
come
to
in
get
via Zoom,
somebody. Yeah.
I'd be fine with it, at least for this committee.
All right. I'll reach out to Dark Skies.
Okay. We can all reach out again. Really?
I was
We'll
going to
get a campaign going.
I can message them right now.
I'm gonna do it. Let's bother this lovely nonprofit.
They're probably going, I wish somebody would bother us.
I,
I hope they are.
they just posted like 5 minutes ago, so.
Yeah, I think So hopefully, maybe they'll get back to us. Also, though, I am bad at checking my messages, so who knows? Maybe I'm not friends with them, so maybe they got blocked in my own. How exciting for everybody to watch this happen. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think they ever got back to me. Okay, so we can put lighting on for next time. I was going to look in, we can ask, I guess the building department would probably be best to ask about what regulations we currently have regarding some of the lighting restrictions. So I can reach out to the building department about current lighting ordinances. Just say like commercial regulation for them. You know, it may be good to know residential regulation for lights as well.
So I know we have the International Property Maintenance Code that is searchable on Google. But I don't know. I'll Google that one up for lighting as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll talk about having like a legacy clause for future regulation. Okay, so we're gonna reach out to groups. I'll talk to the building department about our current regulations. And then, possible timing restrictions for businesses. Timing, possible time limit for lights, we'll say, for non-business hours. I actually did see, again, anecdote time, an Instagram reel the other day of this child who does just love to watch lights getting turned off. And he was outside of a Chipotle on that one, and he was like, the lights are going to turn off. And then it was just the interior lights. The sign stayed on. I was like, wait a minute. He was having a good time, though. Okay, so we'll do that.
Do you want to get another time on the calendar? Would that be
Yes.
helpful to
Sorry.
do now?
I was double checking my
Or do we want
notes.
to wait for
Sam?
Mrs. Bowling? For
Yes,
the
we can.
schedule?
Yes. Yeah, do you want, we have committee of the whole tomorrow. Are we allowed
yeah.
to do scheduling at committee of the whole?
Yes, we are.
Okay. We could discuss there. Someone remind me in case I forget. All right. Is everyone good? I think we covered everything on the agenda.
Gold Star, and under an hour.
Yes. Oh, and before the next meeting, I will ask Keith or Tim to get us a draft of the new changes, and we can just double check, and then I think we can put it to council.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks,
Thanks, everybody.